let me know. Like, can I add other groups like enterprise and no? See, it will just let me know if this is if I'm correct or if there's an issue. Please let me know um, in the comments or send me a text message. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to 2012 prompt again. Oh, prompt again. We know how to add the users. 2012 again. If I go to Toronto admin again, let me try one more time. Which is probably not something we're going to be working on. If it doesn't work, that's fine. We can, do backup, check names. Yeah, see. Okay, so that's the case. We'll add the domain uh, to our 2008 server and configure that. All right. Well, let's examine. Let's wait. In the meantime, I want to talk about um, what we could talk about. So we did all that. We got to turn on the power. Okay, power management. Let's go to administrative templates. This will be in control panel. Start, run, control panel, or app, wiz.cpl for the control panel. Um, so in this one here, um, like small icons here, and we will go to the power options and we will choose what the power button option. Oh, no, we will change the turn off the display menu to never, and then it's all good, and then never, and then save changes. Um, yeah, so we're good to go. You don't want to create your own. We're just gonna leave the recommended configurations and go through there. Okay, so that's done. Additional options for, yeah, we can add this DNS, and we also want the global catalog. We want that. That's important. Um, okay. Okay. The first domain could also be an RODC read only in a forest. Like I said, it must be a global catalog server and cannot be an RODC. So we, by default, are going to leave that checked. It's grayed out anyways. Doesn't matter. It needs to be there. And then click next. So this computer has dynamically assigned IP addresses. Yes, we will use the IP addresses automatically by DHCP server, which is a, but I will assign static, um, which is something we're going to do. So for now, I'll leave this as DHCP. So the delegation for the DNS server cannot be created because the authenticator zone be found, and it does not run on Windows DNS. So we will create this again, guys. We will create this. These locations for the database and the log files and sys volume folders do remain the same. Um, Again, if you want to read up on what this is and what this all does, just click on the help section, and it'll explain to you what this is, um, and give you some considerations for placing EDS files. So again, the volume that hosts the Active Directory database, which is obviously the NTD s.diff files. Again, that's all, hasn't changed. We do give it the DSRM mode password for backup in case our DC fails. Had to use that a couple times, which was fun. Um, that's all done through command prompt. And then we'll give it the password. Okay. And then summary looks good, guys. Looks good, looks good, looks good. We can also export the settings, but we're not. So we're almost done here. Click next. And this can take up to a few hours depending on the environment. So we will not reboot it on completion in case there's any errors, and we can read up on what happened. So I'll be right back, okay? Hey guys, welcome back. Again, like I said, throughout this whole series, I do issues do happen. So we want to make sure that we're in this together to work together. Now, if you have any issues that happen on your end, please, by all means, I've gone through all these issues here and errors and stuff and tried to fix them myself. And if you do come up with an error, please let me know. Errors do happen from time to time. So again, I want to go back and I kind of want to, talk about uh, in this session. I want to talk about RAID, RAID 5, and how to configure RAID on a server local disk VM that we're creating. Again, this isn't a physical Um, it's not a um, physical bare metal server, like your Bell HP, three par, um, you know, Lenovo, where they're created in the BIOS, with the like they're in the BIOS itself, where you can kind of make those changes and whatnot. So I showed you that the BIOS itself in this VM doesn't have it, so we can't really create the RAIDs within the BIOS setup. Uh, the Intel board's fine. It's not the Intel board, but at the point that you enable the RAID, there's specific post memory tests and configurations within the SATA drive where we're able to make those changes in the Intel desktop desktops. But again, in this virtual machine, we're not going to be creating it. There are ways of doing so, and I've done so in the past. So, I'm able to now, even in a perk, Dell perk, H7, I've done that as well. I've created physical disks, rebuilt them, you know, uh, degraded them, created them online and stuff and whatnot. But again, you need to understand how to create a VM on a RAID controller, uh, physically, through the settings and whatnot. But like, you also have to understand, and there's foreign configurations, how to do that on one of the RAID controllers that I created. This is a PERC 7H730P. Um, again, with 8 TB, not ready working. This is also foreign configuration. I'm not going to teach you about that. So I want you guys to kind of understand, um, how this all works, because it may sound confusing at first, but you kind of understand on the server side itself, right? On the Windows 10 side, which is what I'm going to show you, there's two different ways of doing it. But if it's a physical bare metal machine, like for example, a Power Edge, there's three things that you need to understand when it comes down to, how RAID works on a server. There are your arrays. Right? Your arrays are also known as your RAID controllers. And in this instance here, let me see if I can grab my pen. Let me grab my pen here. Uh, annotate. Okay. So you guys can see that, right? Okay. So you have your arrays, right? Your arrays, and those are your A0 and A1. So in this instance, we have two arrays, right? A00 and A001. Um, those arrays take physical disks and organize arrays, can be one or more disks. Okay. You must organize your physical disks into arrays. You also have your logical drives or disks. These are your logical drives. So in this specific rebuild, right, we have our two channels. We have our RAID channel and we have our SCSI channel. Okay. So our physical disks, which is our IDs, right? So our physical disks, we have four. We can add as many as we want. Right? Our physical disks are organized into arrays. So each physical disk is organized into an array. So A001, right? So this physical disk 0 is arranged in all line with, an array of 00, and that's what they call it. So it's going to require these logical disks, especially this one here, the first one, is going to be required by your operating system to function. Um, so so again, you have to understand the difference between an array, a logical disk, and a physical disk, and how that interacts with how we're configuring RAID, on a RAID controller. Um, So when we and I also want you guys to understand first foremost is what the components are of this specific HP drive and what the hard drives look in each bay. This is an old SAN solution with 8 disks and each and a CD-ROM and plus serial port and whatnot. And then we also have this specific instance where you have your three sections, right, of 8, so 24 disks. And then we have our back end, which is our power supplies. So we have 2 power supplies on this one here. And then we have our controllers here and our internet and our ports are all in the back. I've opened tons of these before. Um, and I've worked on a lot of these in my past experiences. Um, so these are cool little they open that mm, Google Chrome. So let's see if I can open oh, okay. Okay, so um inside a SAN server. So let's see if we can look at the insides of it, which is a kind of cool thing here for you guys to look into if you guys are interested in knowing the before uh, of the actual um, Ray controllers. So if we're opening up a server, a SAN server, let's see if we can open up the whole thing and show you the RAM, the ROM inside server, showing motherboard, RAM. All right, so let's take a look at one of these big bad boys here. And you know, this is all the fans, and you have your inside. Again, you have your controllers. I mean, you have your. Here you go. Here's one. Here's a big boy. So it's got 5 fans. It's got one, two, three, four, five, six. Um, right on this side, it's got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. So it's got 6 and 6, so 12 slots of RAM. It's got one, two, three, four, five. I can count here, maybe more, but it's got 4 so far. And then it's got all your hard drive bays on the side, and this is all interconnected. So this is the inside of uh of that, right? I'll have to look at a better picture, but that's sort of the ins and outs of it. It was multiple RAM. We're talking about terabytes upon terabytes and terabytes. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 fans, 11 fans this server has. So and it's got multiple disk bays. Let's see if I can find one full. That's a better picture. Here you go. So this looks like it's a Dell server, liquid cooled, um, sliding off the tray. Here you go. So this one here, it's got 4 plus 4 plus 8, so 16 slots of RAM. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power supplies. I'm sure this is liquid cooled. And then it's got all your disks lined up across. That's the what it looks like. Um, again, you've got your PCI slots, your CMOS battery, your ID connectors, your DRAM slots, your pin connectors, your ATX, but your SIN, CPU fans, and heatsink. Again, this is just a basic motherboard, but um, you know, that's sort of what that looks like. And kind of, you can Google that on your own time and kind of take a look at that, and then let me know what you think. Um, okay, and okay, all right. So that's what that looks like. so you have to understand what they look like and the what they're supposed to do. So this here is your bare metal machine with, again, 8 times 324 discs, and your back end of it where it's got all the controllers and whatnot, and your USB, HDMI cables, your NIC cards. So in this one, it looks like it has two NIC cards here. Maybe it's not a good picture, but got 1, 2 so far. There's 2. I'm not sure what this is. It's not a good picture to show you, but you guys kind of get the aspect of it, right? So remember, your machines are, for RAID controllers, are built inside these servers, and these RAID controllers build an array. So the arrays take the physical disk and they organize them. Okay, so arrays, again, are RAIDs. They take the physical disk and they organize. Arrays can be one or more disks. Again, you must organize physical disks into arrays. So your logical disks or drives, again, are required by the operating system to function. So make that note, because that is important, especially when, setting up and fixing these, rebuilding these machines. So in this case, we have a RAID channel and we have a SCSI channel. So our physical disk ID 0 in array A00, right? And has one disk in that array called -00. We need to create a logical disk that will hold our operating system, like our Windows server, and that'll be the disk that we want. We want to segregate the administration of that. And in this picture here, you can see that 1, 2, and 3, ID 1, 2, and 3 are 3 physical disks in array A10, right? And those three physical disks will become one logical disk, right? One logical disk or drive, right? That's required for an operating system to function. So, or see the disks or see with the disks, and see with the disks and that are created. 3, which are physical disks, are in the same array, like I mentioned before. And what we need to do in order to create it is in 3 steps. So we have our physical disks that are organized into an array. Step 2, from your array, we will create them into logical disks. And then step 3, from the logical disks, is what will be seen by the operating system. So in this instance, 1, 2, and 3, well, this is sort of a 2-channel array, if you kind of take a look at this picture. Right, so the 2-channel array, the 2 channels in array software is aware that the SCSI controller is around, so that's why you're seeing the SCSI. So we have to understand that there's 1 array, 3 physical disks, and 1 logical disk. Okay, may sound confusing, but again, remember, there's 1 array, 3 physical disks, and 1 logical disk. Okay, so the 3 physical disks are ID 1, 2, and 3, right, in array A1. And those 3 physical disks, grab a pen. So in array 1, 2, and 3, right? That's the physical disk. And then in array 0, 1, so they all have the same, right? And then those 3 physical disks, right, will become 1 logical disk to the operating system. Okay, so you'll see it here. You'll see it in our C drive. So this here will be seen here as a RAID 5. So, right, and then that's our C drive, or ID 1, or ID 0, right, which is a physical disk, in array A00, right. That'll see it. That'll see these 3 drives. Okay, so that's how they're designed. So in this picture, as you see here, um, you know, the further the more we do this, the more you'll understand. Right? And kind of, put these online type of thing. So I can move them in any tray I want. Like these slots grow bigger and bigger. So I can put this fifth disk in the array, right? When I'm creating that RAID 5. And you know, and I don't have to put it in and then just, make sure that it's available. Sometimes I think by default, they start out, you'll see the proc when it means that it's processing, or will be just blank, or if it's if it is red, it will say ready. Sorry, PROC. If it is red, and it will say ready, or if the disk is on the array, then it will say online, right? Okay, just remember that. Makes note of that because that is important. So in this picture, again, this picture here, we have online and ready. ID 0A00-00 is our C drive, obviously, like I said, in arrays A00. And our physical disks already on the side, or they're ready to go on the side or the front of the RAID controller. So ID1, we need to set up ID1, for example, okay? This is a little bit different because this is basically going into the server room or data center. You're walking into that data center and you're actually doing this from the rack itself. So you're setting up the the rack. You're setting this all up here in the data center with a monitor. So that's how you would do that. um, you're physically there. So in this instance, we have a ready uh, physical disk. So ID1, we can set that physical disk, uh, you know, by selecting through the space bar, because at the bottom there, once you select, there's options there at the bottom there. You'll see the options here, and you should be able to see the options. You should see the options here, so that these are the options you're going to be choosing, right? So hitting the space bar, and then which creates the array A00, and then assigns a disk to disk number 00. So you'll have the first, it'll say A01, which is right here, right? -00. So in this left picture here, as you can see, there's 3 physical disks in the array 1, right? Right? And they're given disk numbers 00, 01, and 02, right? The array is the same, right? And it just creates to create one logical disk, right? So this will be read in ID 0, right? In our C drive operating system. You'll note that this right here is one drive, right? With three disks amalgamated to it, right? Um, so again, in this instance, you press F10, we select the config array, right? Array selection with the space bar, and then just hit the span 1, and then F10 to continue. Once that, we can configure our logical drives and create a logical drive 1 with an array 5, sort of what you see here, right? Can create that. And then remember, our LD0 is our C drive, which has our operating system on it, right? So our RAID 5 is now created. Once we've created that, we just save the configurations and um, and save that. Those logical drives are configured. So you have 2 logical drives, 0 and 1. One is RAID 0, the other one is RAID 5. Remember what we spoke about RAID 5 and RAID 0. So RAID 0 is just the configuration used for striping. So you'll have 2 drives, double the read and write performance. But in this case, we're not using that. We're using RAID 5, used for striping and parity. In this instance, there are its advantages and disadvantages. works, but we'll talk about that at another later date when I go ahead and finish my 5 uh Hyper-V class 5.2 when I start configuring RAID 5. So just to kind of give you guys an idea how that works. So yeah, that's how that is. Again, in my physical drive, you know, I've created 1, 2, 3 disks. This one has my C drive, and these two as my uh, A01 with ID 1 and 2, right? So if I'm going back to the diagram, you guys have to understand there's the difference between arrays, logical disks, and physical disks, because you'll understand how that works. So my ID 0, ID 1, and ID 2, right? And then ID 1 and 2 will be an array 01 dash 00, and then array 01 dash 01. Okay. So I have two with RAID 5. So I'll set up the RAID 5 there for you guys uh, in my next class. I think we should be okay for now. I'm gonna end this class for today. I just want to thank you guys for joining me. Um, I'll post this video as soon as possible. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to join the WhatsApp group and hit the like or subscribe. Um, if you do have any solutions to the information that we saw, please let me know. And that's all. Thank you very much again. And you know, have yourself a great weekend. And thanks for joining. Hope this session was informative. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask me at any time. Okay, guys? Thanks again. Have a great day. And